Welcome back to another week here on Horoscope TV. And I have to be honest with you, and I'm speaking directly to our Cancer listeners right now. I was looking at the charts for this upcoming week, specifically January 26th through February 1st, 2026. And I physically needed to take a step back. You know that feeling when the air pressure drops suddenly right before a massive summer storm cracks the sky open? That static electricity where, like, the hair on your arms just stands up.
That is a
Yeah.
that is a very apt physiological description of the planetary alignment we are analyzing this week. It is not quiet energy, not at all.
It really isn't. And, usually when I look at a weekly forecast, I'm expecting something like Tuesday's good for emails or Wednesday you might lose your keys.
Right, the small stuff.
It's the small stuff, exactly. But this feels different. It feels heavier. It feels significant. We aren't just looking at, like, mood swings here, are we?
No, no, not even close. If we look at the data, specifically the geometric angles forming between the major outer planets and the personal planets for Cancer, we are looking at structural shifts.
Structural shifts.
Yeah. This isn't about whether you have a good hair day. This is about the architecture of your life. We're talking about your social circle, your career vision, and your deepest psychological basement, all getting, well, a renovation at the same time.
Well, renovation is a nice way to put it. Sometimes renovations involve sledgehammers.
In this case, with the Mars and Pluto conjunction we see on the chart, a sledgehammer is definitely in the toolbox.
Okay, that is exactly what I want to unpack. For everyone listening right now, consider this your navigational briefing. We are going to move way beyond the standard daily horoscope fluff. We're going to analyze the celestial map in detail because, frankly, you are going to need a map. We are looking at a week of intense inner transformation that's sort of clashing with some massive shifts in your social landscape. It's a tug of war.
It is the core tension of the week. The social external versus the deep internal. That's the headline.
So before we get into the granular day-by-day breakdown, give us the headline events. What are the monsters under the bed this week?
It is a packed itinerary. I mean, it's really dense. We start with the first quarter moon in Taurus.
Okay.
Then we have a major ingress Neptune, the planet of dreams and illusions, is entering Aries.
Wow.
And that is a generational shift. We're not just talking about a week, we're talking about years.
Right.
Then we have the heavy hitter, the one you mentioned, a Mars and Pluto conjunction in the 8th house.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, we wrap it all up with a full moon in Leo.
I just heard Mars and Pluto conjunction. My stomach did a little flip. I'm not going to lie.
It's intimidating data, I won't lie. That conjunction alone is enough to define a month, let alone a single week. It's potent.
Right.
But when you layer that with a full moon in the sector of finances, this is what we call a week of consequence.
A week of consequence.
Yes. Decisions made this week will likely ripple out for the next 6 months, maybe even longer.
Well, I've got my coffee. I've got the charts. And I'm ready to understand this. So let's start with that first theme you mentioned. The tug of war. Usually, my social life and my private life are two different things, I go out with friends, I come home, I decompress. Why is this week so different?
Because the planetary data suggests they're colliding. They're not staying in their separate lanes anymore. Look at the timeline. The week opens on January 26th with that first quarter moon in Taurus.
Okay.
Now, for a Cancer, where does Taurus sit in the chart?
Taurus is the 11th house, right? So that's the house of friendship, groups, networking, hopes and dreams even.
Correct, exactly. But we have to be really precise about what a first quarter moon actually is. A lot of people say, oh, the moon is growing, that's nice.
Yeah, more light.
More light, but it's how the light is being created. Geometrically, a first quarter moon is a square aspect to the sun. It is a sharp 90-degree angle.
Which means friction. That's a challenging aspect.
It means crisis. It's a crisis of action.
A crisis of action.
Yes. It's that moment in the movie where the hero has to make a choice that powers the rest of the plot. You can't just sit and think about it anymore. You have to do something.
So it's not a time for reflection. It is a time for decision.
Precisely. So when you have this crisis energy lighting up your friendship sector,
No.
it's not about grabbing a casual latte with a friend.
No.
It's about an audit.
An audit. Oof, that sounds harsh. Cancers are the nurturers of the zodiac. We collect people. We hold on to friends from kindergarten.
I know.
The idea of auditing my friends sounds painful. Genuinely.
It can be. It absolutely can be. But the data here is very, very clear. This moon helps you see who is truly on your team. And that phrasing implies something important.
What's that?
It implies that there are people in your orbit right now who are not on your team, but perhaps you haven't been willing to see it. Or maybe you've just been avoiding it.
So the friction of that square aspect is going to like reveal the cracks in the foundation.
It's going to make them impossible to ignore. Precisely. Imagine you are building a house. That's your life. The first quarter moon is like a stress test on the foundation. You might look around your social circle on Monday the 26th and realize, wait a minute, I am pouring all this emotional energy, all this support into this person, and I'm getting absolutely nothing back.
The classic one-way street friendship.
Exactly. Or you might look at a group you're part of, a book club, a volunteer group, whatever, and have this sudden, jarring realization that this group dynamic doesn't align with who I am becoming. These aren't my values anymore.
That makes so much sense. So it's about clarity. It's not necessarily about a big dramatic fight, but it's about seeing the reality of the situation.
It can be a fight, though. Let's be clear. Mars is lurking nearby in the chart, and it can add fuel to that fire. But the goal of the energy is clarity.
So the universe isn't trying to make you fight, it's trying to make you see.
Yes, it's about looking around the room and asking, who is actually on my team? Who is building me up? And who is draining my battery? And once you see the answer, the first quarter moon demands you act on it.
So if I realize someone is dead weight, I have to cut the cord. Is it that black and white?
Or at least stop carrying them. You can put the bag down, you don't have to throw it away, but you don't have to carry it up the hill for them anymore.
Okay, that's a good distinction.
Because you are going to need your energy. You're going to need it for the internal work coming later in the week. You cannot afford leaks in your hull right now. It's that serious.
That is a great point. If you're about to go through a storm, you need a solid crew. You need to know who's going to bail water with you.
And who's just going to watch.
Right. Now, you mentioned that this social stress test happens early in the week, but there is a shift midweek that honestly, it looks like a huge relief on the chart. The moon comes home.
Yes, on Thursday, January 29th, the moon enters Cancer.
I always feel like when the moon enters Cancer, for a Cancer listener, it's like taking off a pair of shoes that are a size too small. That sigh of relief.
That is a perfect analogy. The moon is your ruling planet. It governs your mood, your instincts, your sense of safety. When it is in other signs, like Taurus or Gemini, it's like staying in a hotel.
Yeah.
It might be a nice hotel, it could be a 5-star resort, but it's not yours. You have to adapt to the room.
You can't find the light switch in the dark.
Right. You're a little off kilter. But when the moon enters Cancer, you are in your own bed. You can find the light switch. You know where everything is.
So that external noise, the friendship audit, the group chat drama, all that stuff from Monday, it quiets down.
It recedes. The data indicates a distinct shift where you start to feel more like yourself. You move from that external high-friction focus to a moment of recalibration.
Recalibration is crucial, especially after a stress test.
It is. It's a moment to check your own emotional temperature. To sit with yourself and ask, okay, Monday was crazy. I had to set some boundaries. How am I actually feeling now? What do I need? It provides a necessary pause, a deep breath, before the intensity ramps up again for the weekend.
I love that. So Monday is for sorting the tribe. Thursday is for sorting yourself. But we have to back up because we skipped over something huge that is also happening on Monday, January 26th. It's happening at the same time as that moon.
Yes, Neptune entering Aries.
This is significant. You said it's a generational shift.
It is. We are talking about an outer planet changing signs. Neptune moves very, very slowly. It spends about 14 years in a sign.
14 years.
Yes. So this isn't a mood swing. This is a changing of the guard. It's a new chapter for the entire collective, but it's hitting a very specific part of the Cancer chart.
And for Cancer, this is happening in the 10th house.
The 10th house of career, public standing, reputation, and your legacy, the very top of your chart.
Okay, help me analyze this combination because it sounds strange. Neptune is dreams, fog, illusion, spirituality, dissolution. And Aries is fire, war, initiation, me first, the pioneer. That sounds like a terrible combination. It sounds like running into a burning building with a blindfold on.
It certainly has its risks. We call it fire and fog. And you're right, it can be confusing. But let's look at the constructive side of the data because there's huge potential here.
Yeah.
When Neptune enters the career sector, it dissolves the rigid boundaries of what you thought your career had to be. The old structures, the old definitions of success, they start to get fuzzy. It brings a visionary quality to your goals.
Visionary is a heavy word. It sounds like Steve Jobs or a spiritual leader, not, my accounting job.
It can be. It suggests that for Cancers over the next decade plus, the old metric of success, just making money or getting the corner office or the fancy title, is going to start feeling empty. soulless even.
I can see that.
Neptune creates a hunger for meaning, for purpose. The forecast explicitly says you might feel inspired to pursue a path that helps others.
That makes sense for Neptune. It wants compassion. It wants to merge to help the collective.
Exactly. And Aries wants action. Aries wants to start something.
So you put them together.
And you get a spiritual warrior.
Yeah.
You aren't just dreaming of helping people, which would be Neptune in Pisces, its home sign. You are driven to fight for a cause. That's the Neptune in Aries energy.
So we might see Cancers launching nonprofits or pivoting their corporate skills into advocacy work, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. It creates a powerful drive for meaningful work, to not just have a job, but to have a mission.
But is there a danger here? I mean, Neptune can also be delusion. It's the planet of smoke and mirrors. Could a listener wake up on Monday and say, I'm quitting my stable job to start I don't know, a sanctuary for artisanal bees, and it's actually a terrible, impractical idea?
That is the shadow side, 100%. The fog of Neptune can obscure the practical details, the spreadsheets, the business plan, the reality of it all. You might see the glorious vision, but completely miss the cliff edge right in front of you.
So how do you avoid that?
This is why we have to connect this back to the first quarter moon in Taurus we just discussed. The astrology is always a conversation between the planets.
Ah, the connection. Okay, how do they work together?
Remember, Taurus is Earth. It is practical. It is grounded. It governs your network, your community.
Right, the friends we just audited.
The friends you just audited and decided to keep on your team. The strategy suggested in the data is to use that Taurus energy to network and collaborate with groups to achieve these visionary ambitions.
So don't just follow the Neptune dream blindly off the cliff. Use your Taurus team to sanity check it.
Exactly. Don't build a castle in the clouds alone. Use your network to build the foundation under it. If you have this wild new idea for your career, talk to those friends, the ones who passed the audit on Monday. Ask them, is this genius or am I losing my mind?
And a Taurus-type friend will tell you the truth.
They'll ask you about the budget. They'll ground you.
I like that. Grounds the mysticism. Okay, so we've got the social audit on Monday, the new career vision also on Monday. Now we have to talk about the elephant in the room, or maybe the tiger in the room, really. Tuesday, January 27th, Mars conjunct Pluto.
This is the heavy hitter. This is the main event of the week.
I have to admit, when I saw this on the outline, I wrote, yikes, in the margin.
A very appropriate response.
Mars is the god of war, action, aggression. Pluto is the god of the underworld, death, and rebirth, power. And they are conjunct, meaning they are standing on top of each other in the sky.
They are occupying the exact same degree of the zodiac. It creates a fusion of their energies, a complete merger.
And for Cancer, this is happening in the 8th house.
The 8th house, the natural home of Scorpio, the house of sex, death, shared resources, other people's money, and deep psychological transformation.
That is intense.
Intense is the only word for it. It's almost an understatement. Let's break down the mechanics. Mars acts as a trigger or a detonator. It's the spark.
Okay.
Pluto is the explosive material, the plutonium, if you will. It represents things that are buried deep, repressed anger, trauma, secrets, but also massive, massive reserves of personal power.
So when Mars hits Pluto, the volcano erupts.
It activates.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is volatile. But we need to look at what this means specifically for shared resources. That's a key part of the 8th house.
Right. The outline mentions debts and taxes. That sounds fun.
The 8th house governs other people's money. This isn't your paycheck. That's the 2nd house. This is what you owe the bank, your mortgage, your student loans, your partner's income, inheritances. It's all the money that's entangled with other people.
Got it.
With Mars and Pluto here, there's an urgent, undeniable pressure to deal with these things.
It feels like a collections agent knocking on the door with a battering ram.
It can feel that way. It urges you to deal with debts, yes. If you've been ignoring a scary letter from the IRS, Tuesday is the day the anxiety becomes unignorable.
So it forces you to confront it.
It forces confrontation. But you have to remember, Pluto is also about power.
How so? In what way?
Debt is a power dynamic. If you owe someone money, they have a certain power over you. This conjunction might give you the ruthless, focused drive to finally pay it off.
Like a surge of energy to just get rid of it.
Yes, or to renegotiate the terms, to refinance, to take your power back from the institution or the person you're indebted to. It's about shifting that balance.
But the data also warns about power dynamics at work.
Yeah.
That sounds more personal.
Yes, this is the interpersonal side of the 8th house. It governs the unspoken contracts between people, the psychological ties that bind. Around January 27th, a Cancer might find themselves in a situation where a boss, a colleague, or even a financial partner tries to exert dominance.
Like a power play.
A blatant one, a really obvious one. Mars-Pluto energy is not subtle. It's not passive-aggressive. It is, I am in charge here, and I will crush you if you get in my way.
Whoa. That triggers the Cancer protective instinct instantly. The crab shell gets hard.
And the claws come out. And that is the danger.
Your reaction.
The knee-jerk reaction. The forecast says, you have the strength to transform a difficult situation. That power is available to you. But the trap is reacting impulsively. Mars wants to punch back. Mars wants to scream, to go to war. But if you do that with Pluto involved, you scorch the Earth. You burn the bridge so badly it can never be rebuilt. You might win battle but lose the entire war.
So what is the strategy? If someone corners you at work on Tuesday, if they make that power play, what do?
You act strategically. You breathe. You channel the Pluto energy, which is the energy of the grandmaster chess player, not just the soldier on the front line.
You see the whole board.
You see the whole board. You wait. You plan. You control your reaction. If you can harness this energy instead of letting it harness you, you can solve a problem that has been plaguing you for years.
It's like nuclear energy. You can make a bomb, or you can power a city.
Exactly. But you have to respect the radiation. You have to handle it with care.
Now, does this same radioactive energy bleed into the personal life? Because the 8th house isn't just money, it's intimacy. It's the deepest bonds.
It is. It absolutely is. And this brings us to the love and relationships forecast for the week. The theme is intimacy is key.
But we're talking about Mars and Pluto. That doesn't sound like snuggles on the couch. That sounds like obsession, intensity.
It is the house of merging, of soul-level connection. Sex, in the 8th house sense, isn't just recreational. It's transformative, it's soul-binding, it's where two become one.
So for couples, this week could be explosive.
In every sense of the word. The vibe is bringing up intense feelings and passions that have been hidden. If you and your partner have been sweeping things under the rug, Mars and Pluto are going to lift the rug and set it on fire.
That sounds terrifying, but also potentially healing if you survive it.
It is cathartic. Deeply cathartic. The action step here is to share your secrets. The barrier between the conscious mind and the subconscious is very, very thin on Tuesday. You might find yourself confessing things to your partner, fears, desires, past traumas, things you never even planned to say out loud.
And that vulnerability creates the bond.
Vulnerability is the currency of the 8th house. If you are willing to pay that currency, to be that raw and honest, you get a much deeper, more resilient relationship.
But what about the singles? If I'm a single Cancer swiping on an app this week and I match with someone on Tuesday, what's the play?
Proceed with extreme caution. The vibe is described as magnetic, but also a bit overwhelming.
So the bad boy, bad girl energy is off the charts, that kind of fatal attraction feeling?
Off the charts. You might meet someone who feels fated, someone who triggers that intense, immediate chemical reaction. But Mars-Pluto can also signal obsession, control issues, or even danger. It is not a light, breezy energy.
It's not a meet cute, it's a meet intensity.
Exactly. The advice from the data is clear. Take your time. Do not rush. Just because the chemistry is nuclear doesn't mean the relationship is healthy or sustainable. Let the dust settle.
Speaking of dust settling, there is a shift coming for the weekend. We survive the Mars-Pluto storm on Tuesday, we recalibrate on Thursday, and then we head towards Sunday.
Yes. As we mentioned, the moon enters Cancer on the 29th, which is that moment of coming home to yourself. And then on February 1st, we have the full moon in Leo.
How does the love energy change from Tuesday to the weekend?
It softens dramatically. We move from that dark passion and secrets vibe of the 8th house to heightened sensitivity and nurturing once the moon is in your sign. The Cancer instinct to caretake takes over. You want to cook for people. You want to make the home cozy and safe.
But then the full moon is in Leo. Leo is the showman. Leo is the heart. Leo wants to be seen.
Leo is also the ego in a healthy way. It's about self-love and recognition. The full moon is in the value sector. So to ask a critical question, I am doing all this nurturing, I am loving you so deeply, but am I being loved in return? Am I being valued?
Ah, the classic Cancer dilemma. Overgiving and under-receiving.
The full moon illuminates the imbalance. So the weekend is for love, yes, but it is for a reciprocal love. You need to ensure your own needs are being met, that your cup is being filled too.
That is a perfect segue into the compatibility corner. Because if we're dealing with nuclear fallout on Tuesday and ego checks on Sunday, we need to know who can handle us.
Who you surround yourself with this week is absolutely vital.
The data points to one clear winner for the best match this week, and that is Scorpio.
It makes perfect sense. It's almost a foregone conclusion.
Why? I feel like Scorpios are difficult. They're so intense themselves.
Scorpios are intense, but look at what the Cancer is experiencing. Mars conjunct Pluto. Who rules Scorpio?
Mars and Pluto.
Oh, of course. They speak the language, they wrote the book, they are the native speakers of this week's energy. While a Gemini or a Libra might look at your intensity this week and say, whoa, too much drama, I'm out, a Scorpio will look at you and say, tell me everything. Go deeper, don't hold back.
They aren't scared of the dark.
They live in it. They thrive in it. The forecast says they offer a safe harbor in a stormy week. They won't judge your secrets because they have a closet full of their own.
I love that.
It's a water sign connection, deep, calling to deep. They understand emotional complexity without you having to explain it.
So if you're drowning in all this Mars-Pluto intensity, find a Scorpio. They know how to breathe underwater. I love that image. Now, on the flip side, we have the worst match. And I'm sorry to say it, but it's Aries.
This is a tricky dynamic this week, a very tricky one.
Which is interesting because Neptune is entering Aries, which we said was a positive for the Cancer career path. But for a personal connection, not so much.
It is a clash of operating systems, a complete clash. Remember, Neptune entering their sign might make Aries individuals act in confusing or erratic ways.
Aries is usually so direct. I want this. I'm doing that. They're so clear.
But add Neptune fog to that, and they become unpredictable. They might be chasing a dream that makes no sense. And Cancers hate unpredictability. We need security. We need to know where we stand.
Right.
The data warns that the Aries nature, their direct, sometimes impulsive energy, clashes with your need for security and caution this week, a week when you're already feeling vulnerable.
And the feeling described as being steamrolled.
Yes, remember, Aries is cardinal fire. Cancer is cardinal water. When they clash, you get boiling water. It scalds. The listener might feel rushed into decisions they aren't ready to make, either emotionally or financially.
So the advice is boundaries. Strong ones.
Very strong ones. Avoid high-pressure situations with Aries individuals if you can. If an Aries is pushing you for an answer on Tuesday, the most intense day, say, I'll let you know next week, do not let their urgency become your emergency.
I'm going to write that down. Do not let their urgency become your emergency. That is good life advice in general, not just for this week. Okay, let's circle back to resources. To money. We touched on the debt aspect, but there is a specific narrative arc for money and finance this week that looks surprisingly positive by the end.
It is. It's a classic narrative of work, then reward, or pain, then gain.
We start with the cleanup on Tuesday, which is the pain part.
That's the Mars-Pluto work. Tackling the scary stuff, calling the bank, negotiating the rate, facing the spreadsheet.
It's the stuff that makes you want to hide under the covers and pretend it doesn't exist.
But Mars gives you the courage to do it. It gives you the warrior energy to face the dragon. The win here is the chance to resolve a long-standing financial issue. And think about how much mental and emotional energy is consumed by worrying about debt. It's a constant drain. If you face it on Tuesday, you reclaim that energy for yourself.
And then we get the payoff. Sunday, February 1st, the full moon in Leo.
This lights up the second house of income and self-worth. A full moon is a culmination. It's the harvest. It's when the check arrives.
The forecast lists some specific possibilities. Receiving a paycheck, receiving a gift, or seeing the results of a financial decision you made earlier.
It is a moment of materialization. If you have been working hard, and Cancers work incredibly hard, often in the shadows, behind the scenes, this is when the spotlight hits the bank account. But it goes deeper than cash.
A realization about your worth.
Yes. The second house is values. What do I value and how much do I value myself? You might look at your paycheck and have a sudden clear realization, I am worth more than this. Or you might look at a client and realize, I am undercharging for my services. It's an epiphany about your own value.
That realization is powerful. It can change everything going forward. But there is a trap. There's always a trap. We have to warn them about Thursday, January 29th.
The Mercury and Venus conjunction. A little sweet spot that can be a bit sour.
Usually that sounds lovely. Mercury is the mind, Venus is beauty, money, pleasure.
It creates a beautiful mindset, a luxurious mindset. I want nice things. But coming right after the stress of Tuesday and right before the potential payout on Sunday, it creates a massive temptation for retail therapy.
Oh, I know that feeling so well. I survived the Mars-Pluto conjunction. I deserve this designer bag. Or, 5 of them.
The risk is spending on impulse. With the moon entering Cancer that same day, you are emotionally vulnerable. You want comfort. You want soft things. You want to buy your way out of the stress you just went through.
So the advice is keep the wallet closed on Thursday, or at least put some tape over the credit card chip.
Put it in the freezer if you have to. Window shop, add things to your online cart, but do not click buy until the full moon on Sunday brings clarity and hopefully the actual funds.
That is the strategy. Delay gratification. Okay, we have covered a lot of heavy ground. I really feel like we need to talk about survival tactics, health and wellness.
This is critical. The forecast is unequivocal here. Emotional well-being is your priority.
It's not about hitting the gym for a PR. It's not about your diet. It's about not having a nervous breakdown.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The planetary aspects are described as draining for a sensitive sign like yours. We have to remember, Cancers are psychic sponges. If you walk into a room where Mars and Pluto are fighting, even if they aren't fighting with you, you absorb that radiation. You feel it in your body.
I always get a stomach ache when people are fighting near me. It's like a physical thing.
That is the Cancer gut instinct. It's your internal barometer. So the strategy this week is active shielding.
What does that mean practically?
Set boundaries, especially on Tuesday. If a conversation feels like it's heading into toxic territory, you say, I can't talk about this right now, and you walk away.
You can turn your phone off?
Turn your phone off if you can.
Yeah.
Unfollow that person who posts stressful things. Curate your energetic intake.
And then on Thursday, when the moon comes home,
Water therapy. The data specifically suggests a warm bath or a quiet evening with a book. It sounds cliche, but for a water sign like Cancer, immersion in water is a powerful energetic reset. It washes away the otherness you picked up during the week.
and a quick note on the Sunday stress, because full moons can be stressful too.
Yes. Even though the full moon brings rewards, that high energy can manifest as anxiety. Your body doesn't always know the difference between excitement and fear. It just feels the adrenaline. The mantra provided is simple. Your health is your true wealth.
Simple, but true. If you burn out, you can't enjoy the paycheck anyway.
Precisely. You can't spend it from a hospital bed.
Okay, let's hit the toolbox.
Yeah.
These are the quick-fire specifics from the data to help navigate the week. A little cheat sheet.
Let's do it.
Color of the week.
Silver.
It has to be silver. It's the moon's color. Classic Cancer.
It is. And it reflects. Think of it as energetic armor. If you wear silver, or even just visualize a shield of silver light around you, you are reflecting that negative Mars energy back to where it came from. You're not absorbing it.
I love that. Okay, best dates. When should we schedule the important things?
January 29th and January 30th.
The moon in Cancer days.
The days you are back in your power, when your intuition is sharpest and you feel most like yourself.
And finally, the lucky numbers.
We have 2, 11, 20, 29, 38, and 47.
I see a lot of twos in there. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 0 is 2. 2 plus 9 is 11, which breaks down to 2. It's a pattern.
It is. The number 2 represents partnership, balance, intuition, and the moon itself. The High Priestess card in Tarot is number 2. It fits the theme of the week perfectly.
All right. We have mapped out the storm. We know about the friendship audit, the new career vision, the nuclear reactor in the basement, and the reward at the end of the tunnel.
It is a hero's journey in 7 days.
Yeah.
It really is. You start with a call to adventure, which is the crisis of the first quarter moon. You face the ordeal, the dragon, which is Mars-Pluto, and you return with the elixir, the treasure, which is the full moon reward.
When you put it that way, it sounds almost epic, manageable even.
Astrology is the epic story of our lives, written in the sky. It gives us a map, but we still have to walk the path.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought. We talked about that Mars-Pluto conjunction being a rare, powerful chance to transform a difficult situation.
Yes, a very rare opportunity.
My question to you, the listener, is this. The stars say you have the strength this week to face the thing you fear most, the thing buried in the basement. So what is the one secret or burden you are finally ready to release? If you could put one heavy bag down this week and never ever pick it up again, what would be inside it?
That is the question. Because the full moon wants to give you a gift, but you need empty hands to receive it. You can't accept a reward if your fists are clenched around an old grievance.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much for analyzing the charts with us today on Horoscope TV. We hope this helps you all navigate the waves.
Stay grounded, Cancers. Use your shell when you need it. It's there for a reason.
And don't forget to subscribe to the show so you get notified the second our next episode drops. February is just around the corner, and you're not going to want to miss the forecast. Until then, take care of yourselves.